Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Cyberpunk 2077. And today I have a new benchmark to show you guys. This time with the so-called AMD fix that involves like actually using a hex editor and like changing a couple values and stuff. It does seem to make quite a difference performance-wise. I've noticed quite a nice increase. So I decided to make another benchmark and compare the values with the previous videos that were before the fix, just to see what's up. So basically, settings wise, we're running ultra settings, as you can tell, with the exception of screen space reflections, which is on ultra, like someone mentioned in the comment section. I didn't notice, but I do assume that's too much for the card either way. If I went like, you know, with ultra, I mean it's psycho, which, you know, as the name says, it's actually psycho. So we're using ray tracing on ultra, and DLSS is on quality rather than auto because DLSS is still pretty unstable when it comes to actual performance. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. So you might have like moments when you get into a cutscene and then when you get back in the game, the frames are cut in half because DLSS decided that it's not needed anymore. So it kind of breaks the whole experience because you're suddenly playing with half of what you had and then suddenly it gets back to normal, then it drops again. It's an awful experience, so I decided to get rid of that. Video wise, we're running actually, let's get rid of VSync so that we can see how far it can actually get. Right, 1080p, full screen, VSync off. Now we get back in the game. What do we have here? We have just about 60 FPS. Because, yeah, ray tracing is quite demanding. Without ray tracing, we would be looking at a lot more than that. We're gonna do that later on in a video. Disable the ray tracing and compare, see the main difference. But yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's fully playable. Right, but we are stationary. We're not doing. Oh my god, lots of screen tearing. Okay, let's walk around, see what's up. Right. Better get out of here. I wanna like find the street, walk around, see what's up. Oh. Okay, let's take that. There's. Oh, nice. Lots and lots of screen tearing on with RTX. I didn't notice any tearing with VSync off, but no ray tracing. So that's something that, wow, weird, quite weird, I'm gonna say. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, CPU usage jumped a lot because there's a bunch of people. We're finally. You know, look at that though, quite nice, huh? Ray tracing ultra is mega pog. I would say with the CPU fix, it's somewhat playable. I wouldn't say fully playable because at times, like mainly during the story campaign, you're gonna have situations where the frames are gonna drop way too much and it's gonna be hard to hit the targets. But for free roam and just messing around and them taking pictures, that's, I would say, acceptable. Yeah, I mean 52 is not bad at all, you know. And I would say it won't be an annoyance if you play it at medium rather than like hard or very hard. Perhaps it wouldn't be that disruptive, but playing on hard, well, I wouldn't recommend it, honestly, playing with under 60 FPS because it gets really hard. I mean, the game is really hard on hard. I mean, it's self-explanatory, I guess, but, you know. Well, 55, we're looking at good frame rate. Let's start sprinting a little bit more so that we can see how the frames, oh my god. They respawn, I was sure killed them yesterday. They are back there. Okay, so we're looking at 56% CPU usage. That's a lot more usage than before the fix. It would hardly go past 40%. Like very, very, very rarely it would go past that. So that, you know. it really does make a difference. I wouldn't say it's night and day, but it does make ray tracing playable. Because before the patch, with ray tracing on Ultra, I was not getting anywhere near 60. At any time, like 60 was just out of bounds. I could not get anywhere near it. I mean, I could quite, like 51. But, you know, that's nine frames that I've possibly gained after applying the fix. So, if you want to risk it, I mean, it's not actually a risk because it doesn't break anything. If you have an AMD CPU, you want to try that out, I would totally recommend that you do that because it does. Okay, so the frames actually dipped a little bit now, but then again, you gotta keep in mind that I'm recording, so without recording we would be looking at a little bit more than that, and it's still, you know, playable. You know, it's not like, I mean, in a closed environment, shooting other NPCs and stuff, perhaps it would be a little janky, but for walking around, oh my god, what the hell? Did you guys see that? Did you guys actually see that? Or am I just dreaming? What the hell was that? I just like, oh my god, I sped up like crazy. This game is such a mess. I love it. Okay. So let me get a car now because we want to drive around and actually see what's up. You know, because walking around is easy, but how about driving around? Oh, I gotta break in. Okay, there we go. Nice car. Let's change the camera because we want to see. God bless ray tracing. Let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. And yeah. And you go from walking to driving around, you can see the CPU usage is much higher now. And also you can notice that the frames are also substantially lower, but that's ray traced, boy. So yeah, I mean, ray tracing is still very, very, very badly optimized in Cyberpunk. It's a bad implementation in a sense because it's just like way too intensive. But damn it does look nice though, I gotta say. Yesterday I was like, and I felt like just turning everything on Ultra and like Quad HD, lock the frames to like 30 FPS just for the sake of like, you know, driving around the city and seeing what ray tracing can actually do. And I gotta say, that was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had ever since I played Red Dead Redemption, which is, well, you know, a sort of game of its own when it comes to visuals. It's an amazing game, a work of art. Cyberpunk gets close though, I gotta say, with ray tracing and stuff. It does look very nice. You know, like the lighting is just mind-blowing. Mainly during like late afternoon. Like it actually looks so close to the real thing. Sometimes you even like, you know, wonder what the hell is this real life? Mama, I killed a man, you know, because it's that close to real life. I wouldn't say in 1080p I cannot quite notice that though, but in Quad HD, holy cow, it's just wow, ray tracing in Quad HD with the LSS, it does look fantastic. Like the lighting is actually out of this world. I've never seen anything like that. But well, yeah, as you can see, we're getting far less frames than without ray tracing, which is obvious. But it's not dipping that much. I remember back when I got the game, I played the first like 5 hours with ray tracing on because, you know, I paid for the whole game. I'm enjoying the whole game with the whole settings bullshit. But, you know, it got so hard with all the frame drops that would annoy the shit out of me. It would drop to like 28 at times. 28, honestly, unplayable. Like if you're, it's okay for playing like 30 FPS, it drops to 28, it's barely noticeable. But if you're playing at 60 and it drops to 28, boy, like what the hell? It's horrible. So I had to ditch that. I had to say goodbye to ray tracing and all the fun that ray tracing brings, because holy cow, the city comes to life. Disabled it, and then I got almost solid 60 FPS, which then again, honestly, you get used to it at some point, not having ray tracing, and it doesn't look that bad. Honestly, the game's amazing even without ray tracing on ultra settings. Anything under ultra just looks awful. But you know, I got used to not having it, and after finishing the game I was like, you know what, ray tracing's back on, I don't mind. And then the AMD fix came out, and now it's somewhat playable, like almost playable. I mean, if you can endure aiming with like 50 FPS, which is a little janky, but yeah. And wow, looks so nice, doesn't it? I mean, just look at that. So yeah, you've seen how much of the CPU is being used. You can go back to like the 1080p video and compare figures. It's night and day. From what I've seen, like on a previous video, it barely scraped the 50% usage mark, and now you can see hovering even all the way up to 70% at times. So yeah, that's quite significant, and it does make a difference. It's not like, oh, you're gonna get more frames. I mean, you do get a few more, but you get more stability overall. Like your frames actually, you know, stop dropping that massively. There are times when it still drops, like when the CPU usage is like all the way up to 60-70%. You're gonna see a drop, but it's not gonna be as significant as it were before, because now it actually uses the CPUs as it should have been using the whole time. Still a lot of work to do, of course. It's not like an actual fix, because the drops are still happening, but they're more rare than usual. So no, it's not like, oh, you're gonna always have 60 now. It's never gonna dip below 60. No, it does dip below 60 even without ray tracing, but it's a lot more rare. So you won't see that happening a lot.
The sun is down, but I hope you're still up.
Oh my god, let me turn the radio off. No. No. Goodbye, radio. Okay. So I think we've seen enough of ray tracing performance, right? Let me just get to a safe place, and then we're gonna turn ray tracing off and see what happens. Basically, okay, should take the right turn, and then another right. Like park. Oh, what? Oh my god, floating. Does it have collision? No, it does not. It's actually floating. Look at that. Very nice. Okay, so we're gonna stop just here. Just below the floating sign. Amazing. Jesus Christ. Okay, so settings. Go into settings. Graphics. Ray tracing off. So no ray tracing anymore. Let's see performance figures now. Ooh la la, 74, huh? Yeah. 75, 76. Actually, I wouldn't say it's an improvement, because on a previous video I made without ray tracing and with DLSS on quality, I was getting about the same figures. Slightly about the same figures, but then again, we're in a part of the city which is quite demanding, so you know, we gotta drive around to see what's up. and the sign still floats. Amazing. I wonder if it does have collision somewhere. No, it does not. It literally just floats. So it was not an asset that didn't load. It's just, you know, it's just not there. It's actually floating. They didn't notice that. Oh boy. Says a lot about the current state of the game. Honestly. Speaks volumes when it comes to that. But, well, it's not my concern, I assume. They did what they had to do, you know, tough times. Gotta make money somehow. You know, cannot blame them. I mean, you can blame them, totally blame them. But they're human beings, so understandable. Would I do the same? No, I would not. But I do understand your reasoning. Okay, so as you can see, of course, it does perform a lot better. Without ray tracing, you're looking at 10 frames plus gain. Sometimes, like, even up to 20 extra frames. Which is very significant, of course, even in demanding part of city like this one, which the frames usually tank, and they would tank without the fix. Look at that, 60% usage, 68%, and the frames are still above 60. Way above 60. That's what I'm talking about. Like, the AMD fix actually does wonders when it comes to how stable the frames are, the frame times and stuff. Oh my god, 60, 59, back to 72, it's all over the place. What the hell is going on here? One can wonder, what the hell is going on? And apparently this AMD fix also fixes the traffic just vanishing when you speed up too much. Look at 72, still pretty good. Pretty reasonable, I guess. So let's take this turn, get back into the city. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, that was bad. Okay, look at that. Lighting is still pretty progress, I gotta say, even without ray tracing. It does look very nice. So it's a worthy compromise, I gotta say. Like, okay, you lose some of the fanciness and, you know, RTX on memes, but hey, look at that. It's not bad. Not bad at all. 70, 68. And CPU usage is always much higher than without the fix. So yeah, the fix actually does improve performance a lot, so I would recommend downloading the hex editor and just doing it yourself. Because if CDPR cannot fix it, the community can fix it, and they do fix it. They did fix it quite rapidly, I gotta say. I assumed it would take much longer until someone figured stuff out. So you just gotta like go on Google and type in Cyberpunk 2077 AMD fix, and then there are a bunch of like guides and stuff teaching you. But if you guys want, I could make a video showing how to do it. But you know, there are a bunch around already, so I feel like that would be quite dumb. But if you guys really want, I can definitely make that. And also the CPU pool, GPU pool trick that also helps a lot, mainly with GTX cards rather than RTX, of course. But it also does help a lot. So 81 FPS, 82. I've noticed that apparently I'm getting less frames than without the fix. Like the peak frame rate's like much smaller. But even though the peak frame rate is smaller, I'm getting more stability overall. Like the frames are not dropping anymore that much. It doesn't dip below 60, which is somewhat impressive, you know. Like, look at that. I remember driving down this place, I don't know if the benchmarks, the frames were awful, and now we're looking at 74. So like, it definitely does improve things a lot. And it's just a line. You change like a line of hex code and bingo, you have a whole new game that performs completely different. Then again, it's just for AMD. If you have Intel, you're out of luck, buddy. Not gonna do anything for you, and probably won't be having performance issues anyway, because from what I've seen on YouTube and stuff, it's using a lot of the cores anyway, so the usage is always high. Like my friend has a 9700K and he's getting 70 to 80% CPU usage, which is, you know, pretty good. So It only works for AMD and it puts it on par with Intel, I assume. I gotta compare like results, people with 2070s and i7s, and see how does it fare. Oh my god. Yeah. So that does allow for a 70 plus FPS experience, which is mega pog. And I'm recording, gotta bear that in mind. I would be getting a slightly more, perhaps 75-ish, who knows. Still, sorry. We still have a lot of pop-ins, as you can tell, which breaks the immersion a lot. Like you're driving around and a bunch of NPCs just spawn in front of you, which is, I hate it so much. Cause you're trying to, you know, you're trying to feel like you're actually in a city, in a, you know, in the future, dystopic future, whatever, but still you're in the future and you're trying to immerse yourself, and then boom, NPC spawns in front of you. Like, what the hell is going on here? It keeps reminding you that it's a game, you know, because like you want to lose yourself in the game, feel the immersion, and then bingo, it just spawns an NPC or it despawns right in front of you, and then you just it keeps reminding you constantly that you're playing a game no matter what. It makes sure to remind you, hey, this is a game. You're not immersed. You're not this is not a city. This is just a game. And we're gonna make sure to keep reminding you every 5 seconds with NPCs like randomly spawning in front of you. Cause you know, fuck immersion. Who cares about that? We want money. We want pre-order money. We have Keanu Reeves. What else could we want? And money. Yeah, we have all the money. Yeah, screw you all. You know, like that's that's basically what it is, honestly. But yeah, if you compare it to my previous video, you can see performance is much better, like much better. We're looking at like almost like 70 FPS at all times, rather than 60, rather than dropping to 50s. You know, I mean, if you turn ray tracing on, you're gonna look at 40s. Yeah, that's bad. That kind of sucks. But hey, you know, get rid of ray tracing and bingo, there you go. There you have it. The ideal performance. I mean, somewhat ideal is, geez. I mean, 1080p ultra, getting just shy of 60 FPS. Yeah, it's not like very impressive, but it's a lot better than it is out of the box, honestly. Quite a miraculous fix. And it's just a line, as I mentioned before. It doesn't take a lot of work. And holy cow, does it make a difference. So yeah, I think it's about time to stop, because we've seen it with ray tracing, we've seen it without ray tracing. And the performance is really much better. You can just compare. I made like 2 videos. First one had a VSync on, no DLSS because it had issues, and then the second video had DLSS on quality and FPS uncapped. And now we're doing DLSS on quality, FPS uncapped again with the fix, and we're looking at much higher, much more stable frame rate as well. So yeah, I think that proves my point. It does really improve the performance. I mean, not specifically my point, because I didn't come up with the fix, of course. It's not exactly my point, but it does prove that the fix does work, even with a core CPUs. I mean, people are gonna notice improvements, like more, like rather than just subtle improvements with 6 core CPUs like the 3600X or the 5600X. That's where the frames are actually gonna, you know, change substantially. But even with the 3700X, we're looking at a very nice improvement. We're not getting more frames per se, but we're getting them more in a more stable manner. They don't drop that much, so you gain stability and consequently a better performance overall, better, you know, a much more enjoyable game. So you can finally ride your car around the city and actually enjoy the goddamn game, rather than complain about frame drops all the time. So yeah, verdict is, it works. So that's about it. I don't have to say anything else. I guess the frames, the performance speaks for itself, and we've seen more than enough. So makes ray tracing on Ultra somewhat playable. You know, it's not like for shooting it could be a little not very PogChamp, but you could disable it for the missions and then enable it for driving around the city, because who cares? I mean, if you're driving around the city, you don't actually need 60, or you could get rid of it altogether and play without ray tracing and have 70, 80 FPS, which is, of course, a lot better than that. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that yes, it does fix the performance, it does make the game much more enjoyable on AMD hardware, and time to say goodbye. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys had a great time, because I sure did. And soon enough I'm gonna be making my video with my final thoughts on Cyberpunk, because I completed the story a couple times already, and I can finally say whether the game's actually good or whether it sucks. So stay tuned for that. I mean, I'm not sure most of you guys care about reviews and stuff, but someone mentioned that I should do game reviews, so I thought, well, why not, you know? So soon enough, you know, it's baking, it's in the oven, but soon enough we're gonna have my review on Cyberpunk, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Either way, bye bye. You guys have a nice day or night, whatever. Adios.